What's up folks, welcome back. Here I am with my Suzuki 2.5 horsepower petrol engine, 4-stroke. I'm pretty excited to have this. I'm going to be pairing this with my Intex Mariner 4 inflatable raft. So we're going to be doing a whole lot of fishing in the mangroves and the backwaters and under the bridges and whatnot, and hopefully that will put us onto a lot of big fish. What I'm going to do in this video is that I went through the manual, I read it fully. It's in 13 different languages, it's a big manual, but I read whatever was in English. And I'm going to go through the basics of that, the things that you just need to know to get started with this motor. And also, if you are planning to buy this motor and if you have any questions at all, please leave it in the comment section below and I will answer all of them. And toward the end of the video, what I'm going to show you is I faced an issue with tilting up this motor. It seemed to have a lot of friction and I did something to fix it. Let's also look into that toward the end of the video. Let's just get started with the motor itself. I have hooked the motor to, or clamped the motor to a barrel, and it's full of water and the prop is well submerged in the water. I've done that just to make sure that I run the first 20 minutes of the braking period in this barrel. And let's just go over what this motor has got. It's got a 0.9 liter inbuilt fuel tank. There's a fuel cap and it's got an air vent. So you open it before you start the motor, and the fuel switch is right here, on and off. And here's the gear lever. Just pull it forward to get the gear from neutral to forward position. It doesn't have reverse. We got the throttle right here and it's in the minimum position right now, or idle. And we got a tension knob for the throttle, and there is the engine kill switch. And we got this lock plate. What this does is that when you pull this off, it just shuts the engine off. And this cord is supposed to go on your belt or whatever to for you to stop the engine in case of an emergency. So we got that, and here is the full start. It doesn't have a switch start, but that's no big deal for an engine this size. And we got the choke. So that's pretty much about it, and let's get this started and get our braking period going. One other important thing with this motor is that it does not come with pre-filled engine oil, so we just got to fill it up ourselves for the first time before we start the engine. And that's the gauge where you can see the engine level. I filled up the oil yesterday. That's the maximum marking and that's the minimum marking. When you check the level of the engine oil, make sure the motor is cooled down, otherwise it doesn't show the accurate level of oil. This is the engine cap or cover, and here's a strap which I buckled off, and here is another strap. You get these two off, and what you do is basically take the cover off, and that little yellow cap is where you put the oil in. And once you do that, you're all pretty much set to go. And it does require gear oil, but you get the engine with the gear oil when you first get it. So we just have to change it when we do the maintenance, which is going to be a separate video. The total braking period for this engine is about 10 hours, but we are only going to do the first 20 minutes in this barrel. The first 5 minutes is going to be just start the engine, make sure the gear is in neutral, and we just let it run for about 5 minutes in idle throttle. And after that, we're just going to engage the gear and let it run for another 20 minutes. That's the first 20 minutes of the braking period that we're going to do here, and then we're going to do the rest of it on the boat. So let's get this started. And before you do that, make sure the fuel vent is open, and turn on the fuel and make sure the gear is in neutral, and make sure that the throttle is at the minimum position. That's it. Once you turn the engine on, make sure that there is water coming out of the pilot hole. That's very, very important, because that is the cooling system for the engine. It sucks the water from place just above the prop, and it cools the engine and spits it out. This is kind of very, very important. If this does not work, please shut down the engine right away. Otherwise, you are likely to seize your engine within the first 15 seconds of starting the engine. So this is very important. we got the first 5 minutes done, and let's flip it to gear. Let's get this going for another 20 minutes. Now we got the first 20 minutes of the braking period set. So before you turn it off, make sure you flip the gear to neutral. And use the engine kill switch. And next is like, make sure you turn off the fuel. And you tighten the air vent. It's all set. And it's ready to go on the boat in the backwaters of Konkan coast. Let's get to see if we can put some big fish with this gear. Now we're going to look into the issue what I faced with the tilt up of the motor. When we are in the shallows, what we need to do is like we got to get the motor up or tilted up. And when I first got the motor, I thought I had some issues. Let me go through that. I was not able to basically like get the motor tilted up. It was so hard, and I had to put in a lot of effort to actually like tilt it up. But I did something to fix it. Let's go over that. That's the bracket that holds this part. And initially I thought this was the culprit. You know, I thought this had a lot of friction that this wouldn't come up, but I was wrong. When I examined closer, there is this nut that holds the motor to the bracket that goes on the transom. This nut was a bit too tight. All I had to do was like loosen that up by 1/8 of a turn, and then I had no issues tilting up or tilting down. Let's for tilting down. Okay, I'm holding the camera in one hand. Annette, can you come hold it?
That's what I said.
Just hold that. Okay. For tilting down, what we need to do is like there is a lever right here. Just push it up and push this down. And once it goes down there, push it in, and it's in the bracket. So we're all set. I hope that helped.